And we are live. Just check to make sure audio's good. And we are live. Okay. So now that I know that everything's good, so oh, my voice is not ready for this live stream. Okay. So as the title kind of says, this is going to be like a ghost behavior guide to kind of help you guys identify ghosts based off of their behaviors whenever you're playing with no evidence, or you're like me and you play a lot of no evidence, no sanity. Because as you can see, even with the new update, I'm currently level 98, $33,000 in the bank. Easy peasy. So first what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and hop into a single player lobby just so I'm there and get my settings ready. Actually, this is kind of off. I usually do what's different? Changing favorite room, medium. That's usually what I run. Interaction amount needs to be low, actually. So go with the ghost. Interaction amount low. Event frequency low. Medium changing favorite room. I don't like the ghost changing favorite rooms like super often, but I do like the challenge that comes with the changing rooms ever so often. So keep that there. Let's see what else. Number of hiding places, medium. Because, like, if I'm dealing with, like, a Fae or a Revenant, I want to have somewhere to be able to get away and make it not too difficult to do so. But I think that is everything. Fuse box visible on map off. Fuse box starting on. Fuse box at the start of contract on. I usually like to do that just because it's a pain. And the fact that flashlights are on kind of... Actually, you know what? I don't do flashlights on because I don't need flashlights. So, player, flashlights, off. So that brings me to 9.75. And contract, fuse box is not visible, but starts on. On. Yeah, it's only a 0.1 difference. Compared to how I solo run these kind of things, that's kind of where I'm at. So first things first is going over ghost types. Now I have a handy dandy little file that I have pulled up to kind of describe. I'll go into more detail whenever I'll go into more detail once I've gone through it. So this may not be in the order that the book provides, but if you want to get a general idea of how the ghost works, or the ghosts work, the ghost section of the book does help give you a general idea. Of the different ghosts, but what I have is like more descriptive. Like this is good for people who are just learning, but if you want to learn quick and be able to pick up like 0 evidence and then 0 sanity, 0 evidence like right off the bat, what I'm gonna go through here kind of helps you out a bit more. So first off, spirit is the most common ghost. Everyone knows that. So for spirits, it's a really well-known test. Smudge the ghost and see if it hunts within 3 minutes. If it does hunt within 3 minutes, then you're not dealing with a spirit. If it takes 3 minutes or longer, you're likely dealing with a spirit. Spirits are known to follow you a lot and do I feel like spirits like to do events more than interactions. I'm not saying that's an official sign of a spirit. I am saying that if you get a ghost that's eventing more than it's like interacting with stuff, then run the spirit tests, smudge it whenever. Like you can smudge it during a hunt, you can smudge its area, whatever it may be. Smudge it, see if it hunts within 3 minutes. If it's taking 3 minutes or longer, you're likely dealing with a spirit, especially with the activity. Next up is Wraith. Very simple with Wraith. So Wraiths, I like to put ghosts in categories in a way. You have the appearance-based ghost, the speed-based ghosts, and then the miscellaneous ghosts. Spirit and Wraith both fall in that category. I like to put Wraith in a special category with Banshee, as these are the ghosts that will stalk you, in a sense. So, Banshee tries to stalk its target specifically, but with Wraiths will stalk anyone. So, if you get a ghost that's following you, it's a good idea to do this Wraith check. So, Wraiths, like in my text file, it says check for activity outside the ghost area. More specifically, check for interactions or events that are like following you outside of the ghost area or the ghost room. That is a good sign of a Wraith. One way to be sure you're not dealing with a Wraith, or to tell if you're dealing with a Wraith, is that Wraiths will not step in salt. So if you get a ghost that steps in salt, you are not dealing with a Wraith. I know I've kind of said this before, but with the new update, they changed it to where during a hunt counts. So if you see a ghost that is walking over the salt but not disturbing it, then you are dealing with a Wraith. So it's best to set salt down in your looping area, because that will guarantee to give you that you are dealing with a Wraith or aren't dealing with a Wraith. So I like to play in Tanglewood just because it has two different looping areas. You have the car in the garage and you have the island in the kitchen. So if the ghost is occupying the kitchen, you have a backup place to go. Put salt down wherever you plan to loop the ghost, and if it doesn't step in the salt, you're dealing with a Wraith. If it does step in the salt, you're not dealing with Wraith. Very easy. Phantom. So there's two different ways to identify a phantom. One outside of a hunt, one inside of a hunt. Phantom's another one of the wandering ghosts. It's in that category with Wraith, Phantom, Banshee, or the Wanderers, I should say. So, Phantom. If you take a picture of a phantom, the ghost event will continue. You will continue to hear music. You will continue to hear footsteps. Whatever the event may be, it will continue if you take a photo of the ghost, but the ghost will disappear. Actually, I guess there's three ways, because that's one telltale sign. And that's one clear way to tell you're dealing with a phantom. Another one also has to do with photos. When you look at the photo, you will not see the ghost, and likely you will not see distortion from the ghost. So it would be a clear photo. You'd have 3-star ghost photo, but the ghost won't be there. And lastly is it's blinking. Phantoms will stay invisible for longer during the blinking animation. So it'll appear, stay invisible, appear again, stay invisible, appear again. You won't get the normal blink, 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 blink that you usually get with a ghost. It'll just be visible, invisible, visible, invisible, and so on and so forth. My suggestion is if you are dealing with Phantom, once you've confirmed it's a Phantom, if you've done it during a hunt, smudge and get out, because those suckers are hard to track. I do not recommend looping a Phantom once you've identified it. Poltergeist. Very simple. Everyone knows about the Polty Pile. But what some people may not know is that the Polty Pile event is actually rare. So you won't get it all the time. The better way to determine a poltergeist is it will pretty much... We also know about the Polty Super Throw. So where it like yeets an item just randomly as an interaction. During a hunt, a poltergeist will do that to every single item in its path, or every single item in its range. So what I like to do is, especially on Tanglewood where you have the kitchen to loop it, stack items along the edge and see if everything just gets shot away. That's, in my opinion, the best way to determine a poltergeist. So now we're on to Banshee. Banshee, this is easier to do when you're playing with multiple players because of how I explained with Wraiths and Phantoms. They can also wander two players a lot more frequently. But Banshees will only target one player at a time. Usually, it is the player with the lowest sanity that's within its range. So like when you enter the ghost room, or whoever it would event on first. That's not a tried and true method for determining a Banshee, but whenever you're the only player in a lobby, you're the only person that can be a target. So when you're playing with other players, Banshee has selected its target. If everyone's in the house, then everyone but the target would be able to just like walk through the ghost while it's hunting. It's super fun to do. If its target leaves the house, it will hunt like a normal ghost. So be careful, because you may not know who the target is yet, and you may get too cocky, thinking you're not the target, and the target's actually out in the van getting more equipment, and now all of a sudden the Banshee is not doing Banshee things because its target's outside the house, so it just hunts like normal. Other people get confused and think the Banshee will select a new target. No. The Banshee will not select a new target. If its target is outside the house, it'll just hunt like a normal ghost. If you don't want to go through that, then you can also try to get the distinct Banshee screech in the parabolic microphone. And you will be able to tell if it's a Banshee screech. Let me tell you. Okay, Jinn. Jinns will move faster at a target when it's far away. However, it can only do this if the breaker is on. If the breaker is off, it loses this ability, and it has to have line of sight of you. It's not just like it can detect your equipment. No, it's got to actually see you in order to speed up at you. Now, it will slow back down to normal speed once it gets in within like 3 meters of you. So, like, you got to do this at the opposite end of a hallway or something to really test for the Jinn. Another thing about Jinns is they will never shut the breaker off because it's the source of their power. Why would they do something that would handicap them? So if you get a ghost that shuts the breaker off, you can rule out Jinn, because Jinns will not do that. Another cool thing you can do is that Jinn will give a random EMF2 at the circuit breaker when it's using its ability to speed up at someone from a far distance. So if you have one player camping the circuit breaker with an EMF2 sitting on top of it, you see this ghost speeding at you, and they get an EMF2, you've confirmed a Jinn. Like right there. Mare. Mares are early hunters in the dark, and they're more shy in the light. So this does not count, like, this only counts as like electrical lighting. So your candles, your lamps, all that won't affect it. It's solely electrical lighting. Couple of key characteristics of mares is they will more often shut off the circuit breaker, turn off lights in the absence of a ghost event. And there's a rare chance for a mare to immediately turn off a light that a player just turned on. And if you get that event, you can know you're dealing with a mare, or you may be dealing with a mimic that mimicked a mare. In that case, well, mimic test is very simple. Just check for ghost orbs. Because remember, mimics can mimic any ghost they want. So always check for ghost orbs at some point in the game. Don't just assume a ghost and then leave. Assume a ghost, check for orbs, make sure it's not a mimic. Then you've confirmed your suspicion. Revenant is very simple to tell, but it is a very dangerous ghost. So, Revenants. They are slow without a target during a hunt, so like super slow, you will be able to tell. But when they have a target, they will zoom at you. And it is very hard to mistake a Jinn's ability to a Revenant's zoom, because a Revenant, I actually have it in the notes here. Well, no, I don't. So, Revenants are faster than Fae or Moroi whenever they have a target. Like, they are the fastest ghosts when they have a target. And I'm not including Moroi's line of sight speed. I'm solely considering Moroi's 0 sanity doesn't have a target speed. The Revenant is the fastest ghost when it gains line of sight of a player than any ghost default speed. Okay. Next we have Shade. Shade is one of the 3 I like to call hard to determine ghosts. Mare fits in with that category because a lot of times you're left with these 3 and you vote Mare based off of nothing but yeah. Unless you get the light switch thing, then you can tell it's a Mare. But Shade, Shades are very reserved. They won't really do anything if you're in the ghost room, and they cannot start a hunt if you're in the ghost room. The part where this gets weird is that with Tanglewood, you have the dining room and the kitchen right next to each other, and there's a very thin line that separates them. But that thin line makes all the difference whenever considering whether or not you're in the ghost room, by whether or not the ghost room is the kitchen or the dining room. So a lot of players will get a ghost that spawns in the kitchen and they're in the dining room, and they'll be even along the border. But because the ghost technically spawned in the kitchen, it doesn't count as not being a Shade because you were in a different room than the ghost. Like I said, Shade and Mare are part of the 3 hard to determine ghosts. Next we have Demon. Demons are very frequent hunters and can hunt at any time using its ability. So this is hard to, it's hard to base off of that because we're dealing with 0 sanity, 0 evidence. Um, so we go off of something else. We go off of cooldowns. But for people who are playing with full sanity, but they're doing no evidence, like they're just getting into the no evidence game, a demon will be able to hunt normally at up to 70% sanity. So keep an eye out for that. Watch your sanity if you're playing with it on. If you're giving yourself the monitor, I know people like to do that. It still gives you an 8x multiplier for doing it, which still is a lot of money. But keep an eye on your sanity and see how much sanity you have when a hunt is over, and try to calculate the sanity drop from during a hunt. So if you're like at 50% sanity after a hunt, then you're likely dealing with the top 3 hunters, which are demon top 3. Oh yeah, top 3, because demon, yokai, fae. Those are like the top 3 hunters. And I'll go into more details about like fae and yokai whenever I'm onto them. Next, we have Yuri. Yuris are known to play with doors. They like their doors. They are obsessed with doors. They love doors. Yuris have the ability to slam doors closed very fast, and this will often have like a double audio effect, so you'll hear like the door close twice if it slams the door closed. But usually a slammed door is a good sign of the Yuri. Now say all the doors are closed already and the Yuri opens the door, there's a chance that you can also hear it that way. And what that would sound like is it would sound like it's twisting the knob twice. Not just the one twist, it'll be like twist, twist, with very little delay in it. And that is like the telltale sign of a Yuri. Like, I was in a game where we couldn't figure out what the ghost was, and we were about to pack it up and call it a day, get a guess on it. And then I heard that Yuri door touch, the opening one where it sounds like it's twisting the doorknob twice. I was like, bro, it's a Yuri. Easy. But yeah, so early on, trying to gain suspicions, listen for doors being touched constantly. I've also gotten Yuri based off of solely it touching doors a lot. Not even getting the double audio effect from it either slamming a door shut or twisting a doorknob twice. One more thing with doors, because like I said, Yuris are obsessed with doors, is Yuri is the only ghost that can touch the main door, like the main entrance exit door to the building, without an event or hunt going on. So if you catch a ghost that, like, ever so slightly does anything to the main door, it's a Yuri. And then last but not least, when it comes to Yuris, is if you smudge them, they're trapped in the room for the smudge duration. So if you smudge the ghost and then for the next minute and a half notice that you're only getting activity inside the ghost room, like it's not wandering at all, it's not going to the hallway, it's not going to the bathroom, it's just stuck in its room. Yuri. Oni. These are part of Oni is part of the very active category that I have for ghosts, in that Onis are very active. They will event a lot. They will touch doors a lot. They will throw things a lot. They will do every type of interaction or event a lot. So, like, you could, whenever you're doing zero evidence, zero sanity, you could get an event before it ever hunts, which is rare. Like, ghosts will prefer to hunt over eventing, but Onis, you are likely to get an event before it hunts whenever you're doing 0 sanity, 0 evidence. One way to rule out Oni is the Oni cannot do the hiss or the airball event, as we like to call it, where it's like a ball of air or mist, whatever you want to call it, and it comes towards you and it hisses at you. So if you get that event, you can immediately cross off Oni. If you don't get that event after a good while, high suspicion of Oni. Like, when I say you don't get that event after a good while, like if it's eventing, but it's not doing that specific event, then you're likely dealing with Oni. And then to confirm it is, excuse me, to confirm that you're dealing with an Oni will stay visible longer during a hunt. And it used to be to where an Oni was like the opposite of a phantom, to where it would blink invisible, stay invisible for long, or stay visible for long. So it'd blink invisible, stay visible for long periods of time, blink invisible again, stay visible. But after the update, they kind of changed it around to where instead of it being like that, it actually blinks faster than a normal ghost. So that's how it stays visible for longer, is it blinks faster. I preferred whenever it stayed visible for longer periods of time instead of blinking faster, because now you really gotta look in order to tell an Oni based off of its blink. But that is how you confirm it. Yokai. Yokais are, I know I said this in the one stream I did whenever I was doing no evidence for like this third time I've ever done it. But yokais are the dumb ghosts, as we like to call it. Yokais are the earliest hunters in the game without abilities. However, that ability to hunt early, or not ability, but the hunting early aspect of it usually requires players to be talking around it. So it can hunt at up to 80% sanity, but players have to be talking around it in order for it to do so. But it can do that, like, it's not like a rare chance to do it. It's like, it will do it. So if you're playing full sanity and you get a ghost that's hunting really early on, make sure it's not above 80. Because if it's above 80, then it's a demon. But if it's 80 or below, then you're between demon and yokai. And then the best way to tell for yokai is that it can only detect a player speaking and disrupted equipment such as flashlights or whatever other equipment you may have on hand add up to 2.5 meters versus the standard 10 of a normal ghost. So that's why it's known as the dumb ghost, because of how close it has to be to actually detect your presence based off of equipment or talking. So if you get a ghost that it's like you can, like, your equipment's disrupted, but then you start yelling at it and it's still not doing anything, and you're likely dealing with yokai. Be careful though, because sometimes walls can affect this kind of test, because a lot of ghosts, if they're like through multiple walls, they won't catch on and you'll mistake that ghost for a yokai. So go somewhere where it has a straight line. Like, what I like to do is I like to crouch behind the counter in Tanglewood and try to yell at it whenever it's like directly in the hallway to the kitchen dining room area. And if it still has trouble, yokai. Next we have the Hantu. Hantus. They are slow in warm areas outside the ghost room and fast in cold areas. Now be careful, because this kind of thing is dependent on whether or not you have the fuse box on now. Like if you don't have the fuse box on, it will be cold and that Hantu will still be fast, even if it's not in the ghost room. Anything below 5 will give the Hantu its ability. So be sure to get breaker on as quickly as possible, or if you're like me and the breaker starts on, then you're good to go. Just make sure that if it ever turns the fuse box off, that you turn it back on quickly. And that is another thing about Hantus, is Hantus, because they rely on cold temperatures, will turn the breaker off a lot. So it can be easy to confuse a Hantu with a mirror because of them both liking to shut off the breaker. Hantu does it because it needs the cold temps. Mirror does it because it doesn't like light. Now, I will say, okay, so there are actually 4. There are 4. 4 of the hard to identify ghosts in Zero Sanity, Zero Evidence. And this is the last one. The Goryo. Goryos. Whenever I was talking about it on that one stream, I was still with evidence. Like, it was the only thing I described it on. Only shows dots on camera whenever you're playing with evidence. So if you have to have video camera facing at the dots, and you got to be in the van to see it. Whenever you're playing with evidence. And what I like to do is have someone watch from like across the hall or from a different room to see if they can see it in person. And if they can't see it in person and you see it on the camera, there you go, you've got a Goryo. But when you're playing with no evidence, Goryos are a pain. So Goryos will likely not hunt or event outside of the ghost room. Now be careful, because when you're trying to define the ghost room, it's very easy to get confused, especially in Tanglewood, where you have that big foyer hallway and all counts as one room, whether it's in the side that's connecting all the bedroom, or the boys' room, the bathroom, and the nursery, or the main actual hallway when you first walk into the house, because that whole area is considered one room. And if you're in that one whole area, it can event to you. It can hunt around that area. But if you're like all the way in the kitchen and you get an event from the ghost, and you know it's in that foyer area, or you know it's in like boys' bedroom, nursery, bathroom, or even the living room, then you're likely not dealing with a Goryo. More importantly, Goryos will not hunt outside of their ghost room. A lot of ghosts like to wander, and they can hunt from wherever they're wandering, and likely change their room to that room that they just ended off in. I'm not exactly sure how the whole changing different rooms thing works, but I've noticed a lot more that they typically change rooms to a room that was in their hunting path throughout the last hunt or the first hunt or whatever. Goryos, they will not hunt outside the ghost room at all. And they will not change their favorite room regardless of whatever settings you may have for your multiplier. That is how you identify Goryo. There's less activity outside the ghost room, and it keeping the same room throughout the entire game up to whatever point you want to declare that it's a Goryo and move on. Next up, we have Myling. Mylings. They actually changed the range on Mylings. So now, I think it's 12. I want to say it's 12 meters is the new range for Mylings. But typically you won't hear the ghost from a very far distance. And that is, I want to say that includes like the ghost itself, not just its footsteps anymore. I would still rely more on footsteps than the ghost itself. But typically, people Myling test by throwing down their flashlight and seeing if they can hear the ghost footsteps from beyond the flicker range. So, like, whenever the flashlight stops flickering, if you can still hear the ghost footsteps when the flashlight stops flickering and it's just on, then you're not dealing with Myling. However, if the opposite is true, then you are dealing with Myling. If you can no longer hear the ghost footsteps after your flashlight stops flickering. I have noticed that it is very easy to confuse Myling with Wraith because it seems like Wraith has similar traits. Try and see if you can't hear the ghost still, like, even as soon as your flashlight starts flickering, and then like as it's getting closer to you, you can start hearing it, because I've noticed that it seems like Mylings you can't hear even when the flashlight starts flickering, and it has to get even closer to you. Mylings will also be more active on parabolic mic. You will get a lot of whispers from a Myling on the parabolic mic. So if you notice a lot of parabolic mic activity and it's mostly whispers, then you're likely dealing with Myling. Onryos. Onryos hate flames, but they also fall into the very active ghost category. So, very active ghost. Just like how I talked about Oni. If it's doing a lot of events, throwing a lot of stuff, all that good stuff. Suspicion on Onryo. But Onryos hate flames. Not lights. Flames specifically. So, the Onryo test is to put down a candle, or with the new updates, candle, which is just a single candle, candelabra, which is 3 candles, burns longer, and then the lantern lasts throughout the entire match. Put those down on top of a crucifix in the ghost room. Like, you determine where the ghost is, you put those down, and see if the ghost keeps constantly blowing out the flames. If it keeps constantly blowing out the flames but doesn't burn the crucifix, you're likely dealing with an Onryo. If it does burn the crucifix whenever the flame is lit, then you're not dealing with an Onryo. Onryos also can be triggered to hunt by blowing out a candle. A lot of people used to say that it was like every 3, but I don't know what the general consensus is about it. I don't know if it's just random, if it's every 3. But if no other flame is present and it blows out a flame, or no other candle, I just say flame. They call it firelights now. But if it blows it out and immediately hunts, and it, like, with no other lit flame being present, then you're dealing with an Onryo. Or you could be dealing with an Onryo. It could also just be coincidence. But getting the combination of not hunting around a flame and a hunt triggers after it blows out the last flame are good signs that you're dealing with an Onryo. Twins, gotta love the twins. So, with the twins, if you're playing with evidence, you can get, one way to figure it out is you can get EMF 5 from both the ghosts with twins, but only the one that's in, like, the ghost room, the room that's considered the ghost room, will give you freezing temps. And same can be said for, like, getting high activity in an area, but there's no cold breath. That can also be a sign of the twins. So basically look for that kind of stuff, or look for activity being done in two different areas, like hearing two items thrown in two completely opposite sides of the map at once. Or like if you're in the house maps, like you hear two different items being thrown at once in different areas. That's usually a dead giveaway of twins. But if you can't get that, then it's down to the speed test, which the speed test is simple. The twin that sticks around the ghost room has a shorter range from the other twin, what I like to call the ghost room twin. I call them the ghost room twin and the wandering twin. So the ghost room twin, when it's hunting, it'll be 10% slower than default speed. So listen for it to be ever so slightly slower than like a normal ghost. And then the wandering twin, whenever it's hunting, will be 10% faster than default. Raiju, very simple ghost. It can hunt early around electronics. So if you have all your electronics piled up in the ghost room, and you get an early hunt, say you're working with Sanity, you're not like me, and you don't punish yourself with 0 Sanity, 0 evidence. If you're doing Sanity and you get a ghost that hunts, I believe it's like the same with Mare in Light, 60, or Mare in Darkness, 60%. Raijus will, yeah, they will hunt early in the presence of electronic equipment. So like your dots projector, your cameras, your spirit box, your EMF reader, all that good stuff. Anything labeled as electronic in the shop will affect a Raiju. Now, another thing about it though is when it's around those electronics during the hunt, it will be super fast. It will be fast, and it can be mistaken for a Hantu very easily if you don't pay attention to where you have those electronics. So what I like to do is not inside the ghost room, but also not where you plan to like loop the ghost. It's like throw down some sort of electronic, like your EMF reader, your dots projector, something like that, and see if it just gets fast around that. Like it leaves the ghost room at a normal speed, and it gets super fast around the whatever you have laid out, whatever equipment you have laid out, and then it comes to you and slows down again. Raiju. Very simple. Raijus will lose their ability to hunt early outside the presence of electronics. They will also lose their speed outside of electronics, like I just explained. So, like I said, it's a simple ghost to get, but it is easy to confuse with Hantu just because it has its own environmental speed factor. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention about Hantu is if you're having trouble distinguishing between Hantu and Raiju, a Hantu, whenever it's going fast or even just near its ghost room, like say it just left its ghost room, you will be able to see visible breath out of the Hantu, and only the Hantu can do that. So, like if you're having trouble distinguishing between Hantu and Raiju, look for breath whenever it's going super fast. If you don't see the breath when it's going super fast, you're probably dealing with Raiju. After you've cleared out everything else that can go super fast, of course. Obaki, the shapeshifter. Guaranteed fingerprints whenever you're playing on Nightmare or Insanity. It is hard evidence for an Obaki. Fingerprints is hard evidence. However, don't get thrown off because it's hard evidence. But Obakis only have a 75% chance of leaving fingerprints whenever it interacts with something like a door or a window or a light switch. Um, so if you get a ghost that didn't leave a fingerprint on the first thing you touched, like you were right there, you saw it happen, but it didn't leave a fingerprint, but then it does leave a fingerprint on something else that it touched, like another door or a window or light switch, keep that suspicion on Obaki. You may even be able to go ahead and say Obaki, but no, I would say keep your suspicion. Obakis have a chance to leave either a 6-finger handprint on a door whenever it touches a door, or a 6-finger handprint on a door or a window whenever it touches either of those, or a 2-finger fingerprint on a light switch. So if you get those, either 6-finger hand or 2-finger finger, you're likely dealing with Obaki. And then last but not least, the no evidence way is during a hunt, Obaki has a 6% chance to shapeshift into a different model than its original per flicker. So it is very likely that you will see it at least once during a hunt. So whenever you're looping the ghost, make sure that you're keeping eyes on that ghost, because if you see it change it to a different model, that's how you know it's a Hantu. Or not Hantu. Why did I say Hantu? Obaki. Obaki shapeshift. That is how you tell it. That's why it's called the shape-shifting ghost. Alright. Next we have the mimic. I already explained this, but the mimic will leave ghost orbs in 0 evidence, 0 sanity. It'll also leave ghost orbs in, like, when you have evidence. So, its actual evidences are spirit box, freezing temps, and fingerprints, although now called UV, because your UV footsteps in the salt actually count as UV now, or fingerprints. So that's the thing. So you can actually kind of force that evidence to be given if it's going to be given to you. So in professional or below, it will give all 4. It will give the ghost orb, it will give spirit box, it will give fingerprints, and it will give freezing temps. So let's say you got ghost orb, you got freezing temps, you got spirit box. Look for the UV, because you may be seeing that it's this particular ghost, but then you're missing a piece of evidence, because that ghost orb doesn't actually count for mimic, and you may be tempted to go. I said ghost orb, spirit box, freezing temps. You may be tempted to go with Onryo, but you haven't checked for UV. And if you unclick ghost orb, you have those 3. There you go, mimic. But the mimic will give that orb, because the orb doesn't count as evidence, and it even says it in the book here. Ghosts, and we go to the mimic. Several reports have noted ghost orb sightings near mimics, but it's evidence. Spirit box, ultraviolet, freezing temps. So, anytime you get ghost orb and like any of the other 2 pieces, look for the last one before calling it a mimic, or calling it whatever ghost you have otherwise. It's like EMF 5, that would give you the twins, but if wait, no, EMF 5. Let me just give you EMF 5. Ghost orb, spirit box, freezing temps, ghost orb, ultraviolet, freezing temps. That's Hantu. You haven't checked for spirit box, or you didn't get freezing temps. You got ultraviolet, spirit box. Oh, that's actually no ghosts. Okay. So no ghost can have ultraviolet, ghost orb, and spirit box as its evidences. So if you get those three, you can already tell you're dealing with a mimic. If you get ghost orb, you get UV, and you get spirit box, but you haven't gotten freezing temps yet for whatever reason, guess what? You can already call it a mimic because no other ghost has that combination. No other ghost has ghost orb, ultraviolet, spirit box. Mimics, they're tricky. They are tricky. Diogen. Diogen is the ghost that you cannot hide from. If you hide from it, you will die. I'm not saying you can die. I'm saying you will die. Because there is a chance that... So, here's how the Diogen works. Okay, first of all, force evidence, spirit box. So, Nightmare and Insanity, you have to get spirit box for it to be a Diogen. If you don't get spirit box, it's not a Diogen. Same thing with Moroi, actually. Morois are also force evidence spirit box. I learned that like a week ago, whenever, like right before the update came. But Diogen and Moroi are both force evidence spirit box. Diogen. So if this ghost doesn't lock onto someone, like with line of sight, it'll be super fast. It will be fast, and it will seem like it's running right to you. That's where the danger comes in, because normally a Diogen will slow down as it's approaching a target. So it'll like zoom at you, and then it'll get super slow. Like this thing, if you die to a Diogen that's like close to you, if you die to a Diogen and you're not hiding, what is wrong with you? But the reason why I say you will die if you try hiding from a Diogen is, sure, you could be able to hear that it's slowing down and try to avoid it, but chances are you're hiding in a place that has no escape and you're just trapped with the ghost. Now if you have a smudge, you can smudge and get away, and you know it's a Diogen, so you move to somewhere where you can loop it. But if you get caught on that first hunt and don't have a smudge, by golly, you're done. But there is another thing with Diogens that make them so dangerous, is that if they do not have line of sight on you, there is a chance that they can kill you while they're going full speed, full throttle, just because of how the tracking works. So do not hide from a Diogen, because there is a chance that it will just zoom and murk you with no warning. And you'll be confused. Like, is that a Thay? But no, it's a Diogen. It just murked you at full speed because you never got line of sight of you. Now, the two that are the most fun to deal with. Well, actually, no. I wouldn't say that in a derogatory way. Excuse me. Sorry this is taking so long, guys. This game is filled with a lot of ghosts, and I just want to make sure that I can help you guys distinguish those ghosts very accurately. So Moroi, faster when sanity is low. So whenever you're playing 0 sanity, it's gonna be as fast as possible. When it doesn't have line of sight, it is slower than a Thay. Because Morois and Thays, that's the ones that people tend to have trouble determining based off of speed. Moroi without line of sight is slower than a Thay, and actually it goes like dun 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 dun. There's videos that you can look up if you want to confirm the speeds. I've done it before. I know what it is. It's just hard for me to like enunciate the footsteps right off the top of my head. But Morois will gain line of sight speed as well. And whenever it gains line of sight speed, it becomes the fastest ghost in the game. Like, if you let a Moroi get line of sight for too long, there will be no escape. There will be no smudging and getting away. Because unless you have tier 3 smudge, or tier 2 smudge, which even tier 2 smudge may help you if you've got a close enough hiding spot, but if you've got to go like all the way from kitchen and nursery, you're done. You're just done. So be mindful of where your hiding spots are whenever you're in the risk of encountering a Moroi. I would say the same thing for Thay, because, but Moroi especially, because if it gains line of sight on you, and you don't get away quickly, you're done. Morois also curse a player that get a response from Spirit Box or Parabolic Mic that doubles their passive sanity drain. So dealing with when dealing with Moroi, say you have sanity, say you have the sanity monitor on. Let's say you're at like 70% sanity and your buddy's at like 50. If you get a response on Parabolic Mic or Spirit Box, if you're playing with evidence, just sit for about a minute or two and see if your sanity has now dropped beyond, like, you're now the lower sanity out of the two of you. Because, like, that would be a very good indicator that you're dealing with a Moroi. I would suggest, like, smudging it to make sure it can't hunt whenever you're doing this. But yeah, and then taking sanity medication will cure or lift the curse that was given to you. Alright, and Thay is the aging ghost. So this ghost starts, whenever it starts out super young, it is very active, will likely hunt early, will likely hunt quickly, and it is the fastest non-line of sight speed ghost. But as the game progresses and you spend time near the ghost, I believe it's every 2 minutes with a 30-second cooldown that you spend with the ghost, it will age or become slower during a hunt and less active. So the more time you spend with the ghost, the more passive it becomes. And a good way to test that is letting one hunt go through, putting down your crucifixes, and just sitting in there with the ghost. And as you sit in there with the ghost, it'll start to quote-unquote age and become slower and less active. And a neat thing with it is if you have a cursed possession, or specifically you have the Ouija board, the first time you ask it its age in the game, it'll be super long. It'll be like super young, and then as you spend time with it and age it, you'll actually get a different response that's greater than the first one that you got. So if you have Ouija board, you can always use that to figure out if you're dealing with a Thay. It's a very interesting thing that not a lot of people know. I've never actually encountered someone use that specific method for figuring out a Thay. Most people just go by speed. Most people just go through the first hunt and go by speed. So, that is all the different ghosts. And now we are going to put it to practice in a match where I'm all alone. Obviously, I have a loadout made specifically for this situation. Hang on 1 second. There we go. Welcome to the shadows. Hi, welcome. I will have to welcome you. You're not alone, but what I mean is I'm going to be alone against the ghosts. I shall witness the horror with you. Well, I appreciate that. We are doing, like I said, no sanity. I can't talk. No sanity, no evidence. I did a breakdown of the different ghosts like early on. So if you want to look early into the stream, you're trying to figure out how to determine ghosts when you have no evidence. Tune into the beginning whenever I went through them. Like, it was super big breakdown. I feel like it'll help a lot of people kind of figure out ghost behaviors. So Tanglewood Drive, I have all tier 3 items because I did everything. And I am starting with Breaker On. I did kind of explain that early on too. Here we go.
Alright, we're here. Take a look at the equipment and prepare accordingly before starting the investigation.
Now what I like to do is whenever I first show someone that hasn't ever seen this before, good old classic Modern Warfare reference, good old Captain Price. Bravo 6, going dark. Love it. I'm gonna grab smudge and lighter. So what I like to do is I like to set up for the very first hunt. Actually. No. That's not how I play this. Whenever I'm alone, here's what I already have lighted. Here's what I do. I'll like gather a bunch of items up right at the door. So there's the firelight. I can actually grab 2 things at once since I don't need a flashlight with the night vision. So salt, crucifix. And then that should be all I need. And then I look over here, see what I have as objectives. Oh, I have parabolic. And I have EMF reader. Grab those. Throw them in there. And since I do have capture a picture of the ghost, I'm going to take my camera as well. When I'm actually ready to go to do my first hunt, I'll actually just throw all my incenses in there as well. Why not grab one more firelight just for the, or we actually should grab the other crucifix as well. I'm holding my smudge. Let's also grab the other crucifix. What I typically like to do is whenever I'm streaming, I like to go until I get the ghost right. So if I get the ghost right first try, well then that's going to be the end of the stream. Did it throw a ping just like right here? It did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a smudge. Or do I already have one? I already have one. So I've got a smudge lighter and I'm going to grab salt. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Grab the keys in case it sets off the alarm. Okay. We already used the crucifix. That was just sitting in the hallway. Airball event, so not Noni. Let's get these lights on. See, we got bone right here as well, looks like. So this ghost loves burning crucifixes. So it could very well be like a demon or something. But I would need smudge test to confirm that. So now I have both crucifixes with me, and I'm just sitting here waiting for the first actual hunt. What's going on now? Ghosty ghost! Come here, ghost! Come here! Ghost, ghost, come here! Ghost! Come this way! Come over here! Come on, ghost! Come here! Ghost! Ghost! Ghost, come to me! Ghost! Ghost! Come on! Ghost? So that ghost did not come to me at all. Be yokai, actually. You, I don't like you. Turn off my light. Oh. Come here, ghost. Over here. Ghost, come back. Ghost. Holy. Ghost. Ghost, come here. Come here. I'm gonna smudge him because I have a suspicion this is a mimic. And that'll give me ample time to check for ghost orbs. That seems like two totally different behaviors throughout the two different hunts. So I'm gonna grab a video camera. Drop my camera, grab another incense or smudge stick. No orbs here. Orbs here. that time it seemed like it acted like a djinn. Now it seems like it's acting like a poltergeist. Unless it is a djinn? Or maybe haunted? Maybe I should check for line of sight speed gain? It is smudged again. What's there? It is touching a lot of doors too, but it doesn't seem like Yuri behavior. Is it in nursery? No? Let's turn on the radio and voice room. Oh god. I think it's a mimic. Let's see. Is it a mimic? Oh, it is a djinn. I was
Welcome back.
okay.
There's some jobs ready for you.
So it was just weird because it didn't come to me the first time. And I just got trapped in the room. That was indeed weird. So I had suspicion on the right type of ghost, but I did get the ghost wrong. So we have to go another round. But the one I was confusing it with was Mimic because I thought weird behavior. So, I mean, my head was in the right place. I thought it was a Mimic that mimicked a djinn right there, but it was just a djinn. I'm actually gonna save this. Why? I guess it won't let me save it for some reason. Weird. Weird Phasmophobia behavior. Well, let's run that again.
Alright, we're here. Take a look at the equipment and prepare accordingly before starting the investigation. Got the intel. Looks like this is going to be a tough one. We might
Alright, so same thing, just pile everything up at the door here. So I've gotten to the point to where I'm not scared if I'm in the looping area and the ghost isn't in the looping area with me. But if I have to roam outside of the looping area, that's whenever I start getting worried. Just have all the smudges in there, easy peasy. Grab salts and parabolic. Well, let's see what my objectives are. Do I need the parabolic? I do need a parabolic. So, also have to capture a photo of the ghost. Grab 2 lanterns for Onryo test if I don't get any of easier ghosts. The ghosts that you can actually tell based off the speed or appearance. Both the crucifixes, and then I can grab one of the instances, lighter, and my camera. Alright, so night vision on, and I'm going to try to get to the kitchen as quick as possible again. And it's right here again. Oh. Oh, it's a child. Not the child. Child's the worst ghost to deal with. Although with it being in a living room, it could just be a demon. The fact that it was in the living room and it used that crucifix in the hallway? Demon question mark? Actually, I'm gonna put this here. Yeah. I just like making a little path straight into the looping area so that... Oh, here's first hunt. Came from the nursery? Ghost! Oh, ghost! Ghost, ghost! Ghost! Come this way! Ghost! Ghost! Ghost, ghost, come on! Okay, so not a wraith. Whoa! Too close. I should be bringing a video camera in with me. Let you know. So, we know it's not a wraith. Should grab another smudge. Now what I'm gonna do is like demon / spirit timer. But I'm also getting Pulty vibes out of this, so I'm gonna start stacking like plates and stuff along here and see if like everything is just gone by the end of the hunt. Actually put that on that table this time. I did do a red light and it just did that. Great. I don't like that one bit. Use the crucifix in the hallway again. Okay. Okay, so the fact that it hunted, or the fact that it just came over to me in that one manifestation event, makes me think it's not. Like, see that? Doing that? makes me think it's not a Goryo. I just touched this door over here. Yeah, not a Goryo. Yeah, see, because it switched from there to there. I was at 2 minutes 20 though. I'm thinking that if it keeps coming from the living room or the hallway, or I think it's coming from the hallway. The fact that it's using that. This is the basement. "30 seconds, so that's not enough for it to be a demon." Not shape-shifting either. Oh. I hate getting the child model. I hate getting the child model. I hate getting the child model. It's just in the... It's so stupid. My thoughts are demon. I didn't get to select it though.
Welcome
Yokai.
back.
No
I've got some
way.
jobs ready for you.
No, it was a yokai and it caught my night vision from all the way in the living room. No, I don't believe it. I do not believe that for 1 second. And that I'm using text. I'm using push to talk, so the ghost can only hear me whenever I hold a button. And whenever I'm talking to you guys, I'm not holding a button. There was no way that was a yokai. No way. They need to check their. They need to check their ghost behaviors because no shot that was a yokai. Alright, well, I go again. There was no shot that was a yokai.
We've arrived. Check the equipment and get set up before investigating.
This time I'm just gonna
The report of occurrence on
go in with
this must be the reason.
smudge, salt, and lighter. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna be sad if it's another child model. And it's in here with me. Wraith or Banshee. Wraith or Banshee. No shot. Oni?
Welcome back. I've got
What?
some jobs ready for you.
This spawned on me. And it was a shadow. Oh my. That spawned on me. What the heck?
Check the equipment and get set up before investigating. We've had no reports of violence, but keep an eye out.
Come here, ghost. Come here. I'm over here in the living room. Come here. Alright. I'm gonna try this again. Without the need for night vision. I notice it's throwing a lot of stuff, so it's a very active ghost. It's not a Fae though. I don't think it's... Come here. Come here, ghost. Ghosty ghost. Come here. Come here. Come here. Ghost. Ghost, come here. Ghost, ghost. Come on. Come here, ghost. Come here. Wait a little time to turn this light on. Again, I don't think it's any of the speed-based ghosts. Because it didn't even speed up even when I had my night vision on. And it was getting line of sight speed. Does not like light though. Come here, ghost. Come here. Come here. Come here. Get out of the master bedroom. I'm over here. Come here, ghost. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Now this seems like yokai behavior. So I'm getting all the way up in the hallway and it's still just moving around that master bedroom, even with me speaking. Hasn't shapeshifted either. So not an Obaki. I haven't had a chance to smudge it, but I have high suspicion of yokai on this one. What I can actually do is this. Ghost, come back. Come back. So I'm keeping my eyes on the ghost. It did catch me from the garage though, so maybe not Noni. Come here, ghost. Come here. I'm keeping my eyes on him. Ghost, come back. Ghost, come back. A lot of this stuff survived, so I don't think it's faulty. He came back here and hasn't done any like events or anything. Oh, never mind. We did that. So if it's a mare, he could spawn over there now. But he likely won't spawn here. Oh, still from the master bedroom. Come here, ghost. Spawning for the same room, so I'm... Yeah, the light's on in there, and he spawned from there, so I'm not thinking mare. Ghost, ghost. Ghost, ghost. Ghost, ghost. Come outside. Come outside. Yeah, so not a yokai. The fact that these plates are still on this table. I want to say it's like Goryo. I'm gonna shoot Goryo. It's spawning for the same room. Just smudge it real quick. Maybe not, Goryo. Could be twins. Okay, so I'm in a minute and a half. A normal ghost can hunt. Oh god. Put that here. That was close. It's not a spirit. I want to say not a mare. Not a demon. Could be a shade. I don't think it's poltergeist at this point. I know it's not on the Wraith. I know it's not a Phantom. I'm pretty sure it's not Nani. It's behaved the same, so I don't think it's a mimic. So I'm between Myling, Yokai, Onryo, Twins, Oreo, Shade. Don't think it's a yokai. Hasn't touched enough doors to be Yuri, because like that entire area has like 3 doors that it could constantly play with. I could test for Onryo, but my suspicion is Twins. I'm just gonna stick with it. It was.
Welcome back. I've prepared some
No,
notes
it
for
can't
you.
be a Goryo. No. It couldn't be a Goryo. It hunted from a different room. It was hunting from master bedroom, then it hunted right next to me. What? That makes no sense. A Goryo would not change rooms. And it was hunting from the master bedroom. A Goryo is not supposed to change rooms. Ever. A Goryo will never change rooms. What is this? Gonna have to report that. Because Goryos are not supposed to change rooms. And they're definitely not supposed to hunt right next to you. As long as you're not in the room. In fact, I had a Goryo suspicion until it changed rooms there.
Alright, we're here. Take a look at the equipment and prepare accordingly before starting the investigation.
Alright, well, here we go. Basement? Basement ghost? Basement ghost? Come here, ghost. Not a phantom. Oh, she doubled back on me. I need to grab something that'll flicker it so I can do mining tests. But I think she had some speed. This is gonna be annoying, but sure. So it's not Oni or Phantom. Let us see what's gonna happen. So we are now at the point where any ghost can hunt. I'm gonna go ahead and call out a demon. Any ghost but spirit can hunt. Anyway, any ghost but spirit can hunt. Oh, there's a hunt. That seems slightly slower than normal. Well, she got close to me. I want to say that's Twins or Revenant. I'll put that there and see if she speeds up. I don't think it's smiling at this point. It's not haunted because she wasn't fast downstairs. Leave Raiju open. Raiju Revenant is what I'm thinking. Oh, Raiju Revenant twins. That one's slightly faster, so it's twins. I'm not going to capture a photo of the ghost. That is twins because 2 hunts it was slightly slower than normal, and then that last hunt it was slightly faster than normal. So that is the twins. Easy peasy, right? Easy peasy. Hey,
Welcome back.
there we go.
I've prepared some jobs for you.
And look at how insane this payout is. Even without bone, without that. Oh, and I got dailies. Look at that. Level 99. Easy. Yep. Just caught twins. Caught the twins doing their twin stuff. So, Gloria was confusing. I may have to report that. But, twins definitely easy. Easy peasy. And I actually made some money. Even though I died twice. So I started with 33,000, now I'm at 35,000. Easy. But yeah, that's gonna close it. Seems like they're still kind of working stuff when it comes to the new update. Seems like some ghosts are misbehaving a little bit, like that Goyo that should not have changed rooms but ended up hunting right next to me. So, yeah. Right now, since they're still working on the new update, kind of take the description that I give with a grain of salt, because sometimes you can get a ghost that's acting funky, not how it's supposed to. I've seen it mostly with like Gorios, Myleen's Wraiths, that kind of thing, because... And that Oni was kind of weird, that it spawned on top of me. I do have switching rooms to medium, but Onis don't usually follow you around like that. Like they'll wander to you for events and stuff, but they won't like follow you like that. It's kind of crazy. But thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, if you want to get the breakdown, come back once the stream is actually like posted as a video, and like take a look at that beginning section where I kind of break down all the ghosts. And I'll see you guys later.